Good evening. Sitting here, reflecting my thoughts, and there's something that in all spaces and times, regardless of if a ghost gave it to you, if an alien gave it to you, the most intoxicated guy in the world, the highest, the lowest, whatever. Oh, look, it just turned 11:52. I want to impress a story that I remember reading. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right of this book. This book is called This Samurai by Shushako Endo. And I have a couple of books of his. Um, well, what I gather that remains from this book. So it is two books to read to realize the divine comedy of life and the serious nature of it, and to know that in our lifetimes where we are right now is the most blessed time that there could ever be that we could have any kind of conversations of any kind of magnitude whatsoever. Right? All by herself. Out in the middle of nowhere. By herself. In front of everyone. So, yeah, peace, Japan. Yeah, the third nuclear bomb, right? Well, okay, so this book. Whatever we'd want to be, you know, like our dad, or a superhero, or this or that, the other, you know, a judge, a cop, firefighter, anything that, because everything's respectable in and of itself, especially from innocent eyes. Like, it's like just moth to a flame to what somebody is attracted to. And what brings it there, who knows? So that, that's the grace given by God of how the world's so divided at the same time as it goes against itself, so that everyone has time to develop before they accidentally get killed. Unlike medieval times and such, where we can go through that, we can call it the dark night of the soul, and go through it many times on our own and survive it, and somehow get to go through history and kind of balance many lifetimes in one. All right. So this kind of levels out like the status of I think of making a young man realize in one story the importance of all the hierarchy and God and the silliness of life, like the other book, which is by Voltaire. It's called Candide. Those are two best books ever to show, like, as far as I understand life to be. All right, so starts out the main character is a samurai, but from what I remember, the samurai is like the only guy in the village that maybe there's two, but there's just one that is like connected to the emperor and the military, that goes like it's kind of like a weekend warrior, where whenever there's training, then he's called in to get trained, and he comes back out and he helps the people like the mayor, but he's not the mayor, and like the head builder, but he's not the builder, but he's the guy pushing you up that has to go out of town, but everybody else gets to stay. Um, and it's just all this weird concoction of things where he's like the master, but he doesn't belong in this world or that one. And either one calls, and people are like, "Oh my God, there's a flood. What do we do?" Well, you're the fucking genius. Well, if he doesn't know, fucking one of the elders probably knows, and if not, we're all screwed. But it's on that hero that gets to go and do exactly, even die between two worlds, like Arjuna and story of riding with Krishna. Well, anyway, so he gets called by the emperor to um, what's now Tokyo. For some reason, I want to call it Endo, but that's not right. What they called Tokyo then. Anyway, he's gathered with a bunch of other different samurai from other villages or whatever. But in a weird case, he's like the one that is like the perfect everybody's choice hero. But he doesn't fit anywhere. And if anybody were the one to be able to run everybody, it'd probably be him. But he doesn't fit because he's just always the right weapon, the right tool for the job. And then he gets sent off on his way to a bunch of people who don't care about that. And so, so then they leave to on a special mission because at the time Christianity was not allowed in Japan. So, but it was some way to for some reason they were in negotiations. But mind you, at this time in the world, it would take you 1 to 6 months to get anywhere by ship, especially like around the world, right? Well, so the samurai and them, they all get on this ship or whatever, and they end up wrecking somehow in Mexico. I don't know if they went this way or that way to get there, but they ended up wrecking in Mexico. And then him and a couple of the other guys like end up living and having to travel across Mexico for like 6 months or maybe it's a couple years, and then get on another ship to get to Rome to go meet with the Pope to be like, okay, so this is what the message that our God brought and sent us to give you. And you're who? You're the guy we're supposed to talk to, but you're the God of everybody over here. I mean, but hey, you guys can kill us at any time, so we're a standoff here. We don't know each other's culture or anything. It's kind of weird. So he gets there, him and these other two samurai, I believe, and then they're forced to get baptized. And they're like, oh my God, this is bad. Like, if we get baptized, we don't know what this shit means. They're like casting some magic spells on us and shit and make us say, give us of our God. What if we don't have a God? And giving us this other one is this guy on his cross spirit? What the fuck? And we had to go back now. And so then they travel all the way back around the world and they get back. And the times have changed so much because it's been 10 to 12 years. And come to find out that no matter what the mission would have turned out, in 12 years later, it probably wouldn't make any difference. But because they got baptized and they were the ones that went on the trip, and they're the ones that got blamed. So then they get back and they're like, aha! So now we can get rid of the Christians once and for all. And they send their best. Our own people who've been converted. Okay, now fucking take your lives. The end. That's pretty cold. If God set that shit up. That's why all the stories of history got to be there so everyone has the balance, can achieve the balance. Uh, the Christians, the Christianity, they're the ones that oppose the God upon those that work just fine as like ants. in a metaphorical way at the time, and very strategical. But mine is kind of God, because God is built in the military industrial complex of the power structure, but it was so tied together with money and such. And which is the perfect reason why World War II had it so that they got double bombed at the same time as, well, hey, guess what? We're gonna carry you for guys forever. For America. Whatever you want to make. Whatever. It doesn't matter. We'll fucking promote it. We got you guys back forever. Across the international date line and shit. So, but God's gonna know about that third bomb, and so we're all gonna come back around and fix this shit somehow. Funny, huh?